Many children harbor dreams of having a pet. Undoubtedly, a good number of you have welcomed a stray cat or dog into your homes, hoping to make them part of your family. The story I'm about to share with you today revolves around a young boy who, instead of waiting for his parents to get him a dog, forged a remarkable friendship with a peerless creature from the wild forest. Little did anyone foresee the surprising outcome this would have for their family. This story happened in a faraway village in the thick forest, where a regular family of 3 lived: a dad, a mom, and their 12-year-old son. The dad made a living by hunting animals, while the mom took care of the home and also worked on a nearby farm to earn extra money. The boy really wanted a dog. He wished for a furry friend he could look after while his parents were busy, but every time he asked, his parents said no. One day, his dad's brother came to visit. He lived nearby and often came to see his brother's family. He knew how much his nephew wanted a dog, and this time, he had a surprise for the boy. He arrived in a car, opened the door, and took out a box that was making little squeaky sounds. The boy looked at it with amazement. He had a feeling of what might be inside, but he couldn't believe his luck. His hands trembled with excitement as he opened the box and found a small gray puppy inside, scared and hiding in a corner, making worried squeaks about what the future held. The boy was so happy that he even forgot to say thank you to his beloved uncle. He carefully took the puppy out of the box, put him on his lap, and started stroking him gently. The parents were also surprised by such an unexpected gift, and seeing how much their child shone with happiness. They surrendered and allowed him to keep the pet. The boy played with his new pet all day long. He fed and looked after him, played and taught him different commands. The dog grew gradually, and the parents began to notice that he had far from regular canine traits and habits. He had a short neck, a long nose, and powerful legs. And when one night they heard the drawn-out howl of their 4-legged friend, their fears were justified. This was not a dog, it was a wolf. They thought for a long time about what to do in the situation. Of course, it was necessary to get rid of the wild beast, and the sooner the better. But looking at the eyes of their son, full of love and devotion to his friend, they could not do such a thing. The parents decided to wait a little while to see what would happen. The wolf did not show any aggression. On the contrary, he was very affectionate and careful with their son. Therefore, they decided that he would still live with them, and they would not deprive their son of this faithful friend and pet. The boy was overjoyed by his parents' kind decision and promised to take even better care of the puppy, vowing not to cause any trouble for the family. As the father's birthday approached, the parents prepared to celebrate with friends and relatives. The mother busied herself with the festive table, while the father set up chairs and a table, getting everything ready for the party. When the guests started to arrive, they felt uneasy about the gray wolf that greeted them at the door. Despite the wolf's lack of aggression, people couldn't help but be fearful around a wild animal. So the boy's mother decided to lock the pet in the barn to avoid frightening their guests. The boy tried to stop this from happening and felt hurt for his friend, as the wolf had done nothing wrong. However, his mother remained firm and took the wolf to the barn, locking it up so the boy couldn't release him. The boy sat by the door for a long time, talking to his friend through a small crack, unwilling to leave him. As the evening approached, the celebration was winding down, and the guests were getting ready to leave. However, the parents realized that their son was missing. The mother assumed he had been sitting by the barn door all this time, but he wasn't there. The boy was neither at home nor in the yard, while the wolf whined sadly inside the barn. After searching the local area thoroughly, they concluded that the boy had likely ventured into the forest on his own. Everyone rushed to find him, and soon the whole village ventured into the forest with lanterns and torches in hand. They searched under every bush, but the pitch-black night made it almost impossible to find the child. They decided to postpone the search until sunrise to avoid wasting energy on fruitless attempts to find him. In the morning, the people gathered at the boy's house, took everything they needed for the search, and went into the forest. Only at that moment did the mother remember the wolf locked inside the barn. She went to the barn, opened the door, and the wolf jumped out. He went into the forest in front of everyone, as if knowing that the boy was lost and he must find him. At that moment, A volunteer shouted that they had found pieces of the boy's clothes on a bush. Everyone hurried in that direction, and they could see clear tracks leading into the thick part of the woods from that bush. The wolf approached, sniffed at a piece of the boy's clothing, and dashed into the forest, following his instincts. People tried to chase after the wolf, but he was so fast that he soon disappeared from view, and they lost sight of him. They spent the whole day wandering through the forest, shouting the boy's name, but they couldn't find any sign of him. When evening came, they decided to pause the search until morning since it was too dark to continue. The parents returned home, but to their astonishment, they found their son in the yard. He was lying unconscious on the porch, with his leg trapped in a device. The faithful wolf had carried him out of the forest and brought him back home. The parents quickly placed the injured boy in a car and rushed him to the local hospital. They stayed by his side all night, not getting any sleep. By morning, the boy finally woke up, and by evening, he was able to speak. He shared the story of what had happened to him that day in the forest. The boy was very upset with his parents that day because they had locked up his friend in the barn. He tried really hard to open the door and let his friend out, but he couldn't do it. So he decided to go into the forest to find a big, strong stick to break the lock on the door. But while he was in the forest, he got lost. He walked around in the woods for a long time, shouting and trying to find his way home, but he couldn't find it. Then suddenly, he heard a loud noise like metal hitting something hard, followed by a crunching sound, and he felt an intense pain in his foot. He had stepped into a trap, probably set by hunters. The pain was so bad that he passed out right away. The next thing he remembered was feeling his wolf's cold nose touching his cheek and the wolf licking his face. Then he fainted again. The boy could feel the wolf dragging him across the ground, and then he lost consciousness once more. When he woke up, he was in the hospital. The wolf swiftly located the unconscious boy in the forest using its keen sense of smell, following the trail and relying on instincts. Determined to rescue him, the wolf unearthed the trap that had ensnared the boy, liberating him from captivity, and then transported him home. They emerged from the other side of the forest, avoiding those actively searching for them. Once the boy was safely on the porch, the wolf faithfully stayed by his side, fearing to lose him again. The relieved parents expressed heartfelt gratitude to the wolf for saving their child's life. This event made them realize that their son had found an unwavering and loyal companion in this wild creature. Without hesitation, they welcomed the wolf into their family. While it's unfortunate that tragedy had to precede this understanding of the wolf's devotion, this story ultimately had a profoundly happy ending. Feel free to express your thoughts in the comments section. Additionally, please consider giving us a thumbs up, subscribing to our channel, and tuning in to discover more captivating stories about the lives of both people and animals.